He's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers and all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Alex, what's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
Okay, so this is first story up is something that's based on the story that Brian posted up on the Saturday Morning Club. And the Saturday Morning Club video that Brian posted was about a satellite that the European Space Agency wants to put up. That what they're going to be doing is testing some ideas on how to remove large pieces of space debris. And it's going to have a harpoon and a net. And what they're doing is they are trying to test ways to try and get some of the space debris out of orbit.
Space?
Yeah, the reason is because some of the stuff
is this going to be a manned voyage?
No, definitely not going to be manned because this is kind of dangerous. And why have a manned person try to do this? It's there's about 7,500 tons of debris up there. NASA keeps track of everything that's larger than a basketball. But anything smaller than that, NASA can't keep track of. And as much as that stuff is pretty dangerous, a lot of stuff that also damages actual spacecraft are the stuff that's a lot smaller, stuff that's dust-sized. And, for example, there's a lot of the damage that the International Space Station suffers is from the smaller debris. And you get pocketing and pits, and it starts to wear away. It's like being in a very long-term slow sandstorm for spacecraft.
I like how in the video they show the astronaut dropping a wrench.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's how some of the parts, but a lot of it is various spacecraft go up and not all of them come back down immediately. And so this stuff starts to orbit. Then there's one time a couple of years ago when two spacecraft hit each other and the debris is like shotgun shells and just material going all over the place in orbit.
So that thing they did with who was the actress who played in that movie where they
Gravity.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, spacecraft.
So what happened in what they showed happening in?
It is potentially possible, but anything that's basketball size or larger, they maneuver the International Space Station out of the way.
Okay.
To prevent that kind of stuff from happening. But it is always a possibility. That's why NASA keeps track of, several thousand items that are orbiting just to make sure that they can get and it's about 23,000 objects that NASA keeps track of.
Wow.
To make sure this stuff doesn't hit. But smaller stuff it can't track, and that stuff does hit spacecraft. So what they're doing, or the main story that I'm talking about, is NASA's going to be mounting a new sensor on the International Space Station called Space Debris Sensor. And it's there to try and spot all the smaller stuff that comes close to the International Space Station so that then they can figure out its orbit and start tracking smaller things.
Wow. This is I'm looking at the video while he's talking about it. Please.
So
this
anyway,
is fascinating.
So again, what they're doing is it's a sensor up in orbit, whereas all the ground sensors, all the other sensors that NASA uses are on the ground. So it's something literally closer in space to try and spot as much of this debris as possible so we can get a better handle on it.
So when I just saw the part where they shoot the net and catch
Okay,
the
and
debris.
that was the ASCEp spacecraft that they're talking about, yeah.
Okay, so what's going to happen once it catches the debris? Is it going to do something to drop
Yeah,
out of
it's
orbit?
gonna the whole
I was
spacecraft
watching
is
the
gonna
movie.
pull itself out of orbit.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it goes up, grabs a piece of debris, and then suicides itself into the planet.
Burns up coming into.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Because about a quarter to half of the debris does eventually fall into the Earth again, but there's a lot of stuff that's still in either a stable orbit or going slowly away from the planet, depending on its trajectory when it became piece of debris.
Fascinating.
So next story is about archaeologists have been doing research on women's bones from ancient farming societies, and what they found is that the women's bones had unusual stress and twisting stresses in the bones. So they started comparing them to different types of modern women's bones. And what they found is that ancient farming women, prehistorical farming women, about 10,000 years ago, the bones they indicate that the women were about 20%, 15 to 20% stronger than the top athletes nowadays.
Wow. Yay, women. Woo!
Well, that's because they were doing a heck of a lot of farming, and all that was physical labor that was not done by animals, it was done by people. So if you're doing that kind of work, you're going to get really muscular. One of the things they compared it to was women Olympic rowers, and they found that they're about 15% stronger than the Olympic women's rowing team
Okay,
members.
but you're talking two different things. You're talking muscle here and you're talking bone. So
well,
if you,
the bone is attached to the muscle.
right. So if
And so to be able to hold on to the muscle, the bone begins to develop too. So as you get stronger, your bone starts to twist and bend and get stronger to deal with your stronger arms.
So
And
I've
so that's
always
how-
been told that if you exercise, especially as you get older, it's really important to exercise because of just that, because your bones get weaker. And if you exercise regularly and keep your muscle tone, you're going to keep your bone.
It
mass,
helps keep the bone
bone.
stronger because
Yeah.
the twisting and pulling by the muscles helps to promote the bone growth. And that's how they were determining how strong these women were, is by comparing the bones, because the more developed and the more twisting that your bones do, it's an indicator of how strong the muscles were.
Okay. Strong women. Woo!
And all you have to do is just spend a lifetime farming with no help at all.
Well, now they've got things that are called gyms. You go to the gyms.
Yeah, and you know what?
Pay
Don't cut it.
buco money. Why?
Yeah, and
It doesn't cut it?
It doesn't cut it
Why
because it's 15% stronger if you do that. If your life depends on doing farming, and your life does not depend on you going to the gym.
Well, I think that's what we're saying. If you want your life to depend on staying healthy, go to the gym because you don't farm anymore.
Tell
Anyway.
that to Mike the farmer.
Well, Mike farms. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Any-
sure also Mike uses a tractor
That's
too.
true.
So,
Anything else to add, Alex?
no, that's it.
All right. So if you have any questions about these two stories or anything else science related, Alex would be more than happy to take your phone call right now at 203
837
99.
24.